Howdy y'all, today is April 29th. So far I've run to the feed mill, grabbed some more chicken food, and now back out at the barn here working on some concrete under the steps so that way all the well equipment can sit on top. Okay, concrete pad is done. My dad's in there working on a couple other little things. It's kind of time to get on the garden about now, so I'm working on that. I'm gonna do 3 100-foot runs. You can kind of see where that tape ends closer to the barn up there. 300-foot runs of tomatoes. I think it'll be better this way because the wind will come screaming this way. And I'm going to have a fence on the left side of the tape here, then the tomatoes on the right side, so that way when the wind blows, the tomatoes will blow back on the fence. At least that's the hope, so they don't get torn up. So I'll do 3 rows of that, and then after that, some other stuff all up there. So this is the weed cloth I got. It's 4 foot by 220, which is pretty nice. So I'm thinking the fence will go somewhere around here and then plant the tomatoes here. So that way when the wind blows, it'll blow it back on the fence and hopefully not break anything. And then after the 4 foot, probably put a 5 foot walkway on either side, just enough to get the mower in to cut everything really nice and easy. So three-ish 100-foot rolls of this will give me 20 tomatoes per row. I think that'll be plenty. So we'll see how this goes. Got a nice short path cut there. So I've got to bring up some bags of dirt. Those white bags way out there, they've been hanging out. I figured those will be pretty good to use to hold this down versus a bunch of these little things. So we'll see how that works. I'm gonna go ahead and bring those up. And would you look at that, they actually gave you the clips. I did not see that. So that's awesome. That makes it a lot easier, but still have all these bags of dirt I brought up, so just a little extra protection. Looks like a system's moving in. It's supposed to be here in a couple hours, but looks like it's clouding up a little early. So far, 2 rows are done. Mapping out the third one right now. My mom's practicing on the mower. She's gonna mow that one. She wants to have some tomatoes out here. I'm mapping out this row here. This will be my 3rd and final row of tomatoes going out that way. And then that'll be about 60 tomatoes, and that's plenty. So definitely getting some rain off and on, definitely a little wet, but got 4 rows in. So this is my mom's row, and then I got my 3 rows, and that'll be plenty for 60 tomatoes. So I'm real happy with that. So the chickens are out running around for the last, 20 minutes of daylight they have. It's about 8:30 right now, 55 degrees. So all the bees are home. I'm gonna go ahead and pop on a second deep box, which is the larger box. General rule of thumb, when you're looking to add another box is, since this is an 8-frame hive, you wanna see about 6 frames out of 8 already drawn out, meaning there's wax already there. And it's different with these guys because everything was drawn out already. They didn't really have anything they had to do. I was just waiting for a little bit until their population came up. When I was in that white hive last, they were looking a little cramped in there, so I am going to go ahead and add on the second deep. The cedar hive, I'm going to wait just a couple more days because they were lagging behind the white hive just a little bit. Look at that, they came running out. That was amazing. Really quick. They were ready to protect whatever they had to protect. All over it. And fun fact, if you crush one bee, all the bees know about it, so they will run out at you. So I'm sure I probably crushed a few in there, just putting the box on. It just happens, which is unfortunate, but there's not a lot I can do because I can't move every single bee in time for them to get out of the way and put a box on. But that's impressive that they all came running out. I've got bees all over me still. Luckily they haven't stung me yet, but they are trying really hard to get through these gloves. It's getting kind of dark, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but see all those little black bumps in there? So I can't point and hold this up at the same time. We'll try this. So that bump there, that bump there, that bump there, that white little piece there. Those are all stingers. So those bees would have got me really good. So when a bee stings you, they can only sting you once and then they die. So that white part is actually their guts. So the stinger gets stuck and the only way they can get off of you is to pull their abdomen off, basically. So that's unfortunate, but they were not messing around. So don't want to mess with that hive. They are still all over the outside there. So definitely always want to wear a veil and gloves around them. So in that one glove, I counted 9 stingers that I could see. So I wasn't even doing anything other than prying it off and popping another box on there. So they're definitely hot-headed, but I'm really happy that I got that second box on there because they were crowded, and I mean, who's not going to be grumpy when they're cramped in there? So hopefully they'll chill out a little bit. Well, it's been about 30 minutes. The chickens are up now. You can still see a few bees on the outside there. They are slowly going to bed, but they are still a little wound up from me breaking into their home just a little bit ago. So normally I would walk over here just in everyday clothes to put that strap back around them and tie them down, but considering how they just acted, I'm definitely going in full gear. So I'm gonna strap them down and call it a day. Today is April 30th. I thought I stapled this down. Maybe I did and they pulled out. Yep, I did. So that didn't work. I think because I mowed this strip, the wind's able to get into there easier. But it looks like everything else is staying down pretty well. So I gotta go through and find those spikes so I don't have to deal with that later. But it's been raining on and off today. You can see a little system out there to the right of the chicken coop a little bit. It looks like it's raining pretty good. We actually got some hail earlier. Looks like my chicken net didn't stand up too well to that. It wasn't a lot of hail, but it was going for a little bit. So looks like I gotta fix this net, or maybe something ran through it. I don't know. It's pretty bad. But yeah, I gotta get these chickens done. You know, looking at that net, I've kind of looked around and I see some sort of print. It's just like disturbed soil, but not actual print. So I think something was in there, whether that's what knocked the fence down or the fence is already knocked down between the wind, rain, and hail. I don't know, but the coop's fine and the chickens are fine, and that's what matters right now. Man, my hose fell in there, so I'm gonna have to dump this thing. It's pretty full. I guess I'm probably gonna be spilling it. I think this one might actually have some water in it. It's a little easier. Yeah, there's some water in there. I think I'll dump that one instead. So these are the prints I'm seeing. I guess maybe dog. They're kind of light, so it must have happened earlier on today. They didn't really do anything. Just, I see a couple of those here and there. So I know the neighbors have, I don't know, 5 dogs. It's kind of the same situation that I have with the Buffs and Marins and Americanas over there. So hopefully that won't become an issue. But I think just with the wind, the hail and everything, this net was already sagging pretty bad. So it just made it super easy for a dog to walk right on. Because when the net is just laying on the ground, it's just shorting it out. So you're not going to get a good shock off of it. To help the fence combat the wind, I have them angled slightly into it so that way it doesn't push over as easy. We'll see if that works better. Today is May 1st, everybody. It's just cold, windy, rainy. Everything's nice and green though, that's popping, but not a great day to be outside doing any sort of work. Just doing the basics, getting the chickens food, water moved, and all that. So even though it's a cold, gross, rainy day out, I have been doing a lot of paperwork stuff, mainly for the farmer's market, so it feels good to be getting some of that done and finalized, because it is only a month away. I did get an email notification saying I can go ahead and pick up my nucleus colony, so that'll probably happen within the next week or two, so that's exciting because that hive is going to be out here. Howdy out, today is May 2nd. It's 50 degrees, but the wind just makes it miserable, so I am out at the farm right now, but just wanted to get in the car and warm up for a second. The chickens are done. Also this morning I went and bought 20 tomato plants. Currently at home, the ones that I started from seeds, I have about 35 tomatoes, so that's fantastic. I bought another 20, and the 20 I just bought, they've been hardened off and they're used to being outside, so I'd like to get those in this weekend. So that's the goal, and that'll be one full row because each row will hold 20 tomatoes, and I have room for about 80 tomatoes at this point. So looking forward to getting that in. It's just hard to imagine it's gardening season with the temperature right now. It's freezing. Still no power, and since it's cold and windy out, the plan today is to finish these shelves. So you can see the bottom isn't on there, so get those done. And then also over here with the concrete pad, it's nice and set up, but also need to build some walls all around here just to insulate it, so that way the well doesn't freeze and heating it won't be really expensive. So those are the two things that I'd like to get done today. Moving the chicken's net is gone, and it looks like some coon poop, so that's nice, and considering the chickens are right there. Howdy out, today is May 3rd. Sunny, feels pretty good out. Tomorrow's gonna be even warmer, which is fantastic. So I'm thinking about go ahead and pop another box on this cedar hive here. The white hive needed one. These guys need one too. They're just a little slower, so it'd be good to go ahead and put one on for them. The white hive is super active. Ton of bees on the outside, ton of bees flying around. Good day to be collecting nectar and pollen. Out at the big farm now, I got my tomatoes sitting out in the sun that I bought the other day. Also just filled up the chickens' feed. Gonna run that out to them. Also gonna do their water really quick. And I have a confession to make. Yesterday, I didn't get anything done in the barn. It was super cold, super windy. It was just a gross day out. And the barn was dark since there's no power, so you would have to open up the garage door, and then the wind just whips around this corner, so just wasn't feeling it. But the only productive thing I did do yesterday was fish this hose out, so I'm happy that's done. So that'll make filling up their water a lot easier. Still no power yet. It has been 3 weeks now. It's crazy. Review on these nesting pads here. My pearl whites absolutely love them. They only lay on these now. I had 6 in a pack. I only put 3 out here just in case they didn't like it. And it took I don't know, a couple days for all the chickens to switch over, but they only lay on that nesting pad now. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the other 3 in for him. Howdy y'all, today is May 4th and I see some blinking lights and white trucks over here on my road kind of in front of me, so let's hope that that is power. Well, it looks like they're at the neighbors, so I'd imagine they're probably going to hook the neighbor up today, and not me, but that means I'm soon because they were called in at the same time, so fingers crossed. If not something today, hopefully tomorrow. Well, yeah, finally got an answer on the power. The neighbor is all hooked up and ready to go, and then still nothing over here. And since my dad and I did the electrical for both properties, my dad called them in at the same time, since they were both done about the same time. And so since there was just nothing going on over here, my dad figured he'd give him a call and see what the deal is. And they said that they were waiting on my barn to pass inspection. Well, that happened 3 weeks ago. So somewhere it was lost in translation that my barn had passed. So it's just been sitting here, not in the system for 3 weeks. So that's really frustrating. Like the tags and everything are on the meter base. It's good to go. It's just wasn't in their system. So I don't know who dropped the ball on that, but that is very frustrating. Have some ideas of why that could have happened. There's been an address issue, so it might be tied into that. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway, so my dad called him and they said it could be another 2 to 3 weeks still because they don't have any control over the contracting company that comes out and does the work. So that's a bit of a bummer. It could still potentially be, you know, 2 weeks to a month. They're just dragging their feet on this, so it's a bit of a bummer. I've been waiting on water because I wanted to get the power first. The water people honestly wanted power first too. So I just wrote the water people and said, hey, we got a generator. Can we make that work? Because then at least we can test out the well equipment and everything like that. And then I can at least use that to pump water. So anyway, I'll let you guys know what happens with that. But that's where we are with power at this point. So I haven't told you guys what I'm doing with this back corner here. You probably can't really see it too well, but there's a corner flag. There's a few flags out there, but it's just kind of hard to see with the sun. Got some flags up here. Basically, I'm gonna let this back corner grow up and turn into a woodsy spot. My dad's cutting a path in it right now. You can see a little bit. It's still pretty short everywhere, so it's hard to tell. In between the 2 trees I planted, there's gonna be a larger open space, kind of just bonfire hangout area. So I wanted a little bit of a windbreak. It just blows through really hard here, but yet I didn't want to block my view either because it is pretty. So I figured this back corner can grow up. That'll help with the wind. It'll also be nice for my pollinators. So whatever grows in here, trees, weeds, and everything, just gives them that much more option. It's also good for when I put some livestock out here, it'll give them some shade because I don't have too terribly much shade out here. So those are all the reasons. And then the path's just kind of nice. So that way if there is a fire, you can't just see it. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with this back corner here. Alright, gonna call it a day out here on the larger farm property. My dad and I got this for the most part done, maybe about halfway done. Also, my dad finished these shelves and they are awesome. So 4 high, they hold a ton. I brought up some more gravel so this isn't sitting, being kind of wet. My dad pulled his truck in just to smash it down a little bit so you can see where it's sinking, and we still need to get some more gravel in. So luckily, got plenty of that. So yeah, now let's go check on all the other chickens. All right, I just let the chickens out. I didn't let them run around their nets. I actually opened it up so they can go wherever they want. There was a little bit of chaos in the Americana coop. I couldn't really see what was going on because of the plastic, but there was definitely some roughhousing going on. And when I opened it up, all the chickens ran out, and one was kind of hanging off in the corner. And I noticed the back and top of her head looked kind of bald. And then I walked toward her, she freaked out and ran out. When she ran out in the grass, she just laid down. When I got a good look at her, she's basically been scalped, so I don't know what happened. So I'm thinking that rooster, he is rough. He might have grabbed hold of her to mount her, maybe got a little blood, and then when chickens see red, they go crazy. So I'm holding her right now. I mean, she's okay, but it does not look good. I'll show you. If you guys don't want to see chicken injury, look away in a few seconds. So I'll give you a countdown in case you don't like seeing blood. But 3, 2, 1. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. All right, you can look again if you were watching. Yeah, so she's not gonna stay here. I'm gonna take her over to my parents' coop. That other chicken's in there, and she would also tear her up. So the other chicken's been in there 2 weeks today, so I'll take her out tomorrow along with Rusty and then put her in there. Oh my gosh. So yeah, she definitely needs some time to heal away from a rooster. And if I see, I mean, this is ridiculous. If I see him getting rough again like this, then he can't stay around. Doing a quick run because nobody had any antibiotic or anything for chickens. I have that out at the farm, I think, but it's not a guarantee, so I wanted to check this out. That moon is gorgeous, y'all. So instead of putting her in a dirty old coop with that big old wound, keeping her in the shed. I can't see my keys here. With no bedding or anything, that way she can't kick anything into it. Also, I didn't find any antibiotic spray, but I found antiseptic spray, so I guess it's better than nothing. So I'm gonna clean it out really good for now. So I sprayed her 3 times really good with this stuff. That was the best I could find. Like I said, I'll run to Tractor Supply tomorrow and see if I can find a antibiotic spray. But yeah, I sprayed it out really good, and she's shaking her head, and oh, it just looks bad. But yeah, the biggest worry with this is infection, obviously, because the skin's peeled back, and you can see the muscle underneath it, everything. So I've just got to keep this super clean. I'll keep using this. I'll probably come back in the next hour, 30 minutes, spray it one more time, and then check on her in the morning and hope she's doing all right. She's eating right now. When I picked her up at the coop first, she was very thankful to just get a break, and she fell asleep in my arms. So I think caught this early enough that I mean, it wasn't dirty at all. There was a little leaf that got on it, but that was just as soon as I picked her up. So it's good that it's clean already, putting this on it. So it's definitely a fresh wound. I don't know. Time will tell on this one. Howdy y'all, today is May 5th, so a quick update on the chicken from yesterday. She's doing fine. I've been spraying her. Well, I sprayed her this morning. I'm going to spray her again. Basically, I'm going to do that 3 times a day. I do have to get up to Tractor Supply still, see if they have anything a little stronger, but so far everything's nice and clean. It's great because there's no bugs in there or anything. So she's eating, drinking, and acting like a normal chicken right now, so that's good to see. And that wound is looking as good as it can look. So I have some mixed emotions on what I'm gonna do with this rooster over here, that Americana rooster. Just because of what he did to that hen. I didn't see him do it, but I'm sure he's the cause of it. I combed over the coop. There's really nowhere that chicken could have hurt herself, and I've observed him being really rough and aggressive with the hens before, chasing them down, grabbing them, hopping on them, and then just pecking them. So roosters are generally a little more aggressive in the springtime because even though we've domesticated the chicken really well, they still have some natural tendencies, and naturally it's birds will lay their eggs in the spring for the year, just like all the wild birds do and everything. So chickens are the same way, even though over time we've got them laying pretty much every day of the year, every other day of the year. But the roosters, they'll tend to get a little testosterone boost, and that's when even Doodles and Rusty were going at it. Not completely out of the blue because it is springtime. And same with this rooster, I'm feeling. So I'm always a proponent of giving an animal a second chance. So I'm thinking about just throwing him in this cage here for a week or two, see if he calms down. But if I see him being overly aggressive with the hens, it's just not worth it. So I don't need any other injuries like the one that hen is going through right now. Well, he walked right in, so that made it easy. I went ahead and took that bottom out. That way I can move him around the coop if it gets junky in there and don't have to clean it out. So we'll leave him in here for a little while, see if he does any better, chills out when I let him out next. The reason I was kind of thinking about getting rid of him was, one, obviously because of what he just did with that injury, but also I'm gonna have some roosters from him over at the school. I'm actually gonna pick him up on the 12th, so next Friday. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with him yet, but until I figure it out, this is what he's got. Got a weird little egg from the Buffs today. Small little elongated thing, kind of rough on the edges a little bit. Probably just feed that one to the chickens. So the chickens are all taken care of here. That injured chicken's been out for about an hour. I don't want to leave her out too long just because I don't want any bugs to find her. Thankfully there aren't really many bugs out right now, but I'm gonna go ahead, clean it one more time, just in case a bug did land on her, and then get her back in the shed, and that way she can just relax. At Tractor Supply, I got a couple bags of chick feed, and now I'm looking to see what they got for that chicken. Well, yeah, I was really disappointed in Tractor Supply's selection of topical sprays. The active ingredients weren't even that great, but the price was jacked up. It's better just getting it at a drugstore. There's a lot tougher ingredients in those. I didn't find any antibiotic spray either. They only had the injection or ointment, so that's a little frustrating. I'll probably hit up a drugstore and get some more of that stuff that I have, see if I can find antibiotic spray. Typically I like doing things the organic route, but for an injury like that, I would love to have some sort of antibiotic on hand, just in case if things turn for the worse. But right now everything looks good on her. It's healing up. It's starting to kind of glaze over a little bit. No infection or anything yet, so that's good. Got some nice deer prints coming through. I don't know if you guys can see them too well, but 1, 2, 3, 4, just plodding along.